everyone. My name is Karen McCullough. And we're going to have a panel discussion right now, and I like this topic. It's called Getting Work Done, Staffing for Success. So what we're going to do is we've got 3 experts here who have businesses in the area or who work in HR. There's lots of information, but we want this to be a conversation. So pretend we're like on a TV show. Okay, pretend we're with Oprah. Okay, pretend I am Oprah. No, just kidding. Pretend we're at a TV show, and you can just say, I've got a question. And then maybe we can have our team run around and give you the mic. No? No. Anybody on the team want to do that? Look and see how shy she got? Okay, may not work, so you have to really yell it out, okay? So what I thought we would do is we'll start with Judy Bishop. Judy's going to tell us a little bit about herself and where she's coming from and her business. Whatever, in fact, Judy's going to do whatever you want.
If I can figure out how to turn this mic on.
Oh, you're on, Judy.
It's on. Okay, good morning, everybody. That was a great warm-up, wasn't it? That was absolutely terrific. Yeah, good job, Karen. Yeah. Those Texas women know how to talk, don't they? So anyway, my name is Judy Bishop, and I own a staffing company on Oahu. And I've been recruiting for talent on Oahu for 25 years. And I've been recruiting for talent totally for 50 years. And I've recruited for talent in 30 states in the U.S., as well as Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore. And people are the same everywhere in the world. That's what I found out. And one of the things that I think would help me to connect with you folks is to also talk about the fact that I went into business for myself the first time when I was 25 years old. And I had that business for 15 years. And I sold it. And then I went into the corporate world for about 15 years, decided I liked small business a lot better and being my own boss a lot better. So I went back into business for myself when I was 60 and never looked back and have loved every minute of being in business for myself, whether I was 25 or 65. And so one of the things that I'm going to talk about a little bit more today is the emphasis on finding talent in this really low unemployment market. We have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the United States. And there's always been a problem finding talent in Hawaii in certain types of skills. And so being able to find talent for your organization will enable you to grow. And if you can't find someone to help you, you have to do every job, and you can't grow. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So happy to be here today.
We're happy you're here. Thank you so much. All right, Charen?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Gerren Kepler. I work for Hoaloha, Ekolu, which is the organization that operates the Old Lahaina Luau, Aloha Mixed Plate, Star Noodle, Leota's Kitchen and Pie Shop, I'm not done, Hoaloha Farms, Hoaloha Bake Shop, and the Charles Ku'upu Learning Center, which is where I work out of. I'm very proud of that. I've been with the company for a cumulative 18 years. The company has been in business for about 32. And our biggest growth has happened in the last 10 years, and that's when we started to add on Star Noodle and beyond. Our organization is run by the people. We have 3 wonderful owners, Michael Moore, Tim Moore, and Robert Aguiar, but they have really empowered us to help them make the big decisions on where we go, and where we've come from is where we base it off of. Our culture and our values is really what drives us and has helped us to grow and helps us to attain and retain employees. That would be Ho'okipa, Aloha, and Po'okela. Some of you folks might be familiar with those Hawaiian values. But that's what we do. Karen said it perfectly today when she said the people in your organization is your biggest asset, is your biggest commodity. And we've known that for years, and we've built on that year after year. In 2016, we celebrated our 30th anniversary, and instead of, going overboard in certain ways, what we decided to do was do 30 acts of aloha. And we traveled throughout the islands and throughout the country and into other countries, spreading our aloha by volunteering and giving back to the community. And it gave our entire company this sense of purpose. Outside of the walls of what we do every day, knowing that there's a bigger world out there that we can touch and that we can be a part of and to make other people's lives better. And that just really made loyalty so much stronger within our organization. And so I'm not going to talk too much more.
That was good.
But yeah, that's me, and that's who we are.
That was.
Hi, aloha, good morning. My name is Cassie, Akina-Ancog. I am third generation to run our family business, Akina Tours and Transportation. We are actually the oldest small family business run transportation company on the island of Maui. We've actually been in business for 90 years, and this year is our 90th anniversary. I don't know about the 90 acts of, we'll try.
90 would be hard.
But I like the idea. My grandfather started the business running a taxi and banana wagon business here in Kihei. My parents took over the business, and they were second generation, and they started the tour business. So the pink and purple buses you see around Maui, that's us. We also have school buses. We provide for the private schools here on the island. I'm third generation. I always knew I'd be working in the family business, not necessarily running it, but it's been my passion. I enjoy basically, treating everyone like ohana. When my grandfather ran the business, he drove the buses himself, the taxis. When I grew up in the 80s, 70s, 80s, I remember my aunts and uncles driving the buses. Today, I don't drive the bus. I work in the office, but our family has extended to many people of many cultures. We don't necessarily have family members driving or working for us, but we treat everyone like ohana. And I think that's the biggest takeaway I get growing up in the family business is we treat everyone like family. My dad taught me integrity. That's a huge thing that our values for our company. And I just, here today, I know when we spoke earlier, it's just talking about the generations. Here being in the third generation, it was really hard for me growing up in the business, and probably the last 10 years, explaining to my parents how important it is for us to be, catching up with the times, actually having an HR department. When my grandfather did payroll, he paid people out of his pocket, cash. When my parents ran the business, it was writing a check out of the checkbook. And now here I'm paying people by clicking a mouse, through online. We go through pro service. And so we've gone through a lot of changes over the years. And it's challenging running a family-owned and operated business. People, really going from just people being able to, say, I want to do this, to know we have rules and regulations and Department of Labor laws. So that's the biggest challenge that I'm facing now, hiring people. I'd love to get tips from you. The biggest thing we have is referrals, and I think that's a huge, it says a lot about your company. When your own employees bring people and say, hey, can you hire this person? I think they're a great candidate. And so that's what is how we really actually hire people, is word of mouth. And we try to get people who we see have longevity, people who we feel are team players and have a great attitude. They don't necessarily have to have the skills. We're willing to teach them, but the attitude goes a long way. So thank you so much. Aloha.
That's good. Keep your mics, guys. I have a question to start, but has anybody, we've heard some information from everyone. We have experts here. This is your chance. Does anybody have something that they would like to ask before we roll in? Anything? Yes?
I have a question. You said that we have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the U.S. Do you know offhand who has a lower unemployment rate than Hawaii?
I don't know offhand, but I know we're like the lowest almost. I think we're like
2%.
one or two people, states different, but in the national average is like 4.5.
Yeah.
So we're half that.
When I heard that, I thought we think that's a great problem to have, but really, after talking with Judy, that's a challenging problem to have because we're looking for the talented, the best, and it gets to be kind of slim pickings. I hate to say that, but 2%, that's challenging. Thank you, that was a good question. Anybody else? Anybody have one? Because we're going to try to make it, we're right here with you. So I was listening, and first of all, could you guys share what generations you're in? Are you a millennial? No. You're a Gen X? Yes. Or are you on the cusp? I don't want to ask your age, but show me in fingers. Okay, you're Gen X. Well, I like that. So a Gen Xer comes on the scene with the family. How many of you have family businesses? How many of you have family businesses? It's a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge going from generation to generation. I loved your analogy of your grandpa with the cash and then the check, and now it's a click of a mouse. Thank you so much. That was really, really good. I loved it. So I'll ask a question then. So how do you, with 2%, Judy, share with us, how do we get the talent? How do we find it? Give us the secrets.
Okay. I'm not sure I have any secrets, but I do have a lot of techniques. But, you know, I think there's a cultural thing that goes on in Hawaii that's like, you know, kids are growing up and somehow they get this message and this myth in their mind that to get a good job, you have to leave Hawaii. How many of you guys have heard that, right? Yeah, everybody. Yeah. And it's really sad because there are businesses like all of ours, and we're looking for that talent that's now leaving, right? And as a recruiter, I find those people leave, they go to college, they stay in the city they've moved to or somewhere on the mainland. 20 years later, when their kids are grown or off to college, they want to come back to Hawaii, right? And so then it's a challenge to pay them what they've been making on the mainland, and then the housing issue and all that, right? So we are losing talent still. We still have a brain drain, but then people do want to come back. But it's not always an easy fit when they come back to measure up to the salary they were at before. So I always tell people, don't leave. Don't leave. You know, stay here. There really are jobs here for you, but you think there aren't here. You think those jobs are not here, but they are here. So I think that when we as employers want to find talent for our organization, because I have the same challenge finding recruiters for my own organization, right? And recruiting is a difficult job because people think it's just interviewing people, but it's like sales. You know, you have to go out and find the talent, then you have to negotiate that talent into the job with the client, employer, and then you have got to help the employer negotiate with that candidate, right? And so finding talent here takes talent to find the talent, because it's not apparent and obvious and everywhere. We create a workforce of service industry employees, right? Because our number one industry is hospitality. Our number two industry is government. And so government employees don't leave their jobs, typically, right? And so the people that you're drawing from for your businesses are probably people who have been developed in the service industry. So we have people in retail, we have people in hotels, we have people in restaurants and all that. And that doesn't necessarily provide you with the software developer. It doesn't necessarily provide you with a business analyst, right? So a lot of those kinds of jobs and mid-management jobs are hard to find the talent. And we're also a small business state, which means many small businesses here. So small businesses don't create mid-management jobs. They're often front-facing to the customer, and then there's the top management level, because it's the owner and all the people that do all the work and are touching your clients, right? So we don't have big companies that create middle-level management jobs. So whenever you want someone to help you in a management role, that's hard to find that person, right? So we have some challenges finding talent in Hawaii. And I think because of the high economy, the growing economy, and the low unemployment, it's actually getting worse. So we have this great economy, but you may be strapped to grow your business because you can't find the talent that you need, right? So one of the things that I do is look for talent all day long. That's my full-time job, is looking for talent. So there are many ways to look for talent. And the better you can do it yourself, the less you have to spend with a recruiter like me, or hiring your own recruiter in-house, which is great too, depending on how much hiring you have to do. But if you're a small business of maybe 10 people and you need to hire one person, you're not going to hire a full-time recruiter to find one person, right? You're not going to hire a full-time recruiter to hire two people, right? And you don't want to spend a fortune. You don't want to pay $5,000 or $10,000 fee to a recruiter to help you find that person. But maybe if it's an executive level person, you will pay it, right? But what about all those jobs that you need to fill on a regular basis? You can't be paying $5,000 and $10,000 to a recruiter every time if you're a small business. So you need to know how to be your own recruiter. So you either need to get someone on your staff trained to be a recruiter, like you need to get someone in-house, be trained to be a recruiter, because HR people don't always know how to do it. A lot of HR people spend all their time doing payroll and administering benefits and, you know, doing the basic everyday problems about people who punctuality and attendance and counseling people on employment issues and things like that.
So what are the qualities? Then what do people need? Let's say that I have a business and it's just me and a couple others, and one of us has to be the recruiter. How can we begin to develop that? What are some of the qualities that we need as a recruiter?
Well, I think you should take some courses, really, seriously, because it is a whole other profession, right? But I find that people who are good recruiters are people who are naturally curious about people. They really want to dig and find out more about them. And also people who are good salespeople make great recruiters, because you just got to go out and find people, you know? And the thing about being a good recruiter and what you can do for yourself, because you probably do sales, you probably do business development for your own company. You probably are curious about people and what motivates people because you manage people, right? So you can be your own recruiter if you have a really small company, or you can convey those skill sets to someone on your team or send them for professional training. But to be a good recruiter, you have to be a good marketer. You have to get out there in the community. You have to join organizations. You have to be volunteer in organizations. You have to be active on committees in organizations so that you start meeting people and you start building your own network. You have to network on social media. You have to network on LinkedIn. You have to network on Facebook. You have to network on Instagram. Ooh. You have to network in person. You have to know how to do advertising. You have to know how to write job descriptions and post those jobs so that those job descriptions and job postings don't sound like something that was written by a policy wonk, but written by someone who does advertising, because you have to market your company, you have to market your job, you have to market yourself as a great person to work for, and you have to make sure your brand is a good brand, because if your brand has a problem, you're not going to be able to recruit.
Okay, well, we'll take a little break. That's great. So I'm going to just jump. I have a question for you, but I'm going to jump over because you hit on something that's really big in my world. When I speak to millennials, organizations hire me now to teach employee branding. And employee branding is totally different than company branding. Employee branding is when you have employees that love your organization, teach them that they are an instrument to go out and recruit. We tell them we're looking for you, and Cassie, you're going to talk about that, because she said that her employees bring on the next team. So share with us a little bit, if you can, about what you've observed with your employees going out there and doing the recruiting, just by talking maybe. How does that work?
So the last 4 employees we hired were one big position, mechanics. They're really, really hard to come by, especially on Maui, especially diesel technician mechanics. And so that was an employee referral. The bus drivers, we look for youthful retirees. Those are really people that don't mind the split shift. For school bus, we have morning shift, afternoon shift, and
do you have a place where the employees go, like a place for them to have a cup of coffee or anything?
Yep.
And so if you have an employee lounge, these are little secrets of branding. I love her idea. You said youthful retirees. That's going to be anybody with a smile on their face that's retired, right? That looks youthful and has energy. We might want to put a picture of one up and just say, youthful retiree, come work for us. We've got to remind people. So these visuals like that, I love what she said, putting it up where people get coffee. We're looking for a youthful retiree. Keep going.
Yep. So we pay a referral fee for, so immediately when they bring the person in, they sign an application, we give them, a bonus check. And once they go through the training, they've been with us for 6 months, they get another check. The last person we just licensed 2 weeks ago is a retired police officer from the mainland. And he was here in Maui, he lived next door to one of our drivers, and he would see them come and go every day. And he asked them, hey, what do? I see you leave in the morning and you come back and then you leave again. And they said, well, we're bus drivers. We love the kids. We actually, that particular, it's a husband and wife actually drive for us, and they drive for Kamehameha Schools, which is a private school here in Maui. And the good thing about driving for private schools, they're very supportive of our drivers as far as student behavior on the bus. That's actually a huge issue with drivers, is having that support, making sure that we as a company are supporting them to do their job when they go on the bus, that if there's an issue with students, sometimes I actually get involved with the school to help counsel the students. It's important that once we, get the drivers, it's important that we never stop supporting them.
Protected.
When we bring them into the door, we say, hey, you're now Ohana, you're family. You don't necessarily have to be Hawaiian to be our family. Like I said, we hire people from all cultures. And they're assigned a bus, so it's ownership. So they have their bus, and it's given a Hawaiian name or value. So they're told to, this is your bus, Ho'omau, Imua, whatever it is. And they feel, like ownership.
Right.
And so, we never stop supporting that applicant or that employee. We're constantly doing training. Every month we bring them in and we allow them to give input, what are their challenges. And then it's not just us speaking to them, but their peers,
Right.
that help them, hey, what works on the bus, what doesn't.
So we're going to move from recruiting. So I like that. So you become a recruiter, which means you better be social. Sound like I heard the word networking 27 times. Did you? So if you're going to be the recruiter, you've got to realize that you're that face of the organization and you're out there. You're not just sitting in the office going, boy, we need people. Boy, where is everybody, right? You've got to get out there and you've got to go to a lot of meetings and organizations, and you've got to talk in a positive way, which gets into employee branding. So the power of recruiting today with young people, they just like with Yelp, they read about referrals and how many stars you get and how much you like this thing. Well, that's the same with a job. Oh my gosh, I love our company. You should probably come there. There's room for advancement. We do trainings that are excellent, which leads me to Charen. So she said she was there 18 years. Did you hear it? So what they do to keep you there 18 years? Let's hear about a little bit about how can, once we get a great employee, how do we keep them?
Everything. You got to think about everything. Every decision that our company makes is based on what is going to benefit for our people, not our customer, not for the bottom line, but for our people. We believe that the people really are our asset, very much like how Cassie said. Once you join our company, you're Ohana. And that's very cliche, but it's very true. There's a little bit of an internal joke that I'll share with you that it takes a lot to get fired once you're hired with us. And that's because we really look at the person as a whole person. One mistake doesn't necessarily mean, well, it depends on what the mistake is, of course. But if it's a minor infraction of sorts, we're not just going to reprimand and move on. We're actually going to try and diagnose the performance problem, and we'll try different avenues, more training, different training. Maybe it's the position that they're in is not a right fit, and maybe they will match somewhere else in the organization. And so we'll try a lot of different things to make it a win-win situation for us and for the employee. I think that one of the biggest things, though, that we really do drive home to our staff is that what they do is not just what they do in that moment or for the restaurant or department that they're working in. When the company is successful, we're able then to support our overall community. And if we can't be a successful organization, then guess what? We can't do the donations of the silent auction certificates for the school down the street, or we can't provide food for the teachers' conference that they're having up at the school. Our employees know that their success is going to directly affect their community, their children, their grandparents, their parents. And it's that sense of that bigger purpose that really holds them to be loyal to us. So they're not thinking, okay, I'm just a cashier, but whatever I'm doing is actually going to go and be put back into our community in so many different ways.
How do you reinforce that? Like, do they just see it, or do you tell them? Like, how do they know what you're doing?
Everywhere. I mean, it's in their interview. We explain to them
so
the kind of organization that we are, and we look to see if their eyes light up. You know, if it's something that they're into, then we know that they share that value with us. We also award our top volunteers, right? We find value in that. We recognize them in our monthly newsletter and emails, and in our pre-shifts, we'll give an award away. So yeah, it's really threaded through everything that we do. That sense of purpose, that sense of it's more than just us. And then to couple that with Hawaiian culture, I mean, we live in Hawaii. How can you not have a part of the Hawaiian culture in your corporate or company culture? That's hospitality is our biggest industry. And what do the tourists, what do guests that people fly here come for? The culture. And the culture is only lived through the people. So you got to also give them that sense of purpose of, you know what, I'm living this Hawaiian culture, I'm teaching this to my guests, and all these wonderful things that we know about the Hawaiian people then get spread and communicated outside of just Hawaii. They take it home with them.
Okay, now it's your turn, guys. They've really shared quite a bit. Any questions? Yes, now we've got them.
I've seen and I've talked to people that they're going to hire the local person because they know they're going to be here in a year. I'm curious what you guys have to say about that.
Well, I would say it depends on how desperate your need is and what the difference in their talent levels are. I mean, if you need experienced software developer and this person from Hawaii may not have much experience at all, and your need is desperate and urgent and important, you might have to put the mainland person on a contract and let the local person maybe work with them or something like that. You know, I mean, there's a lot of ways you have to look at it because I don't think you can just simply say, do you hire the mainland person or the local person? Obviously, the local person is probably going to stay longer, but if they don't have the skills to get your job done, you know, that's a problem too. So I don't think it's a real simple answer to that one.
Yes? Oh, sorry.
Given the...
Oh, wait. I thought you were going to kind of answer with it. Let's finish this and then I'll get you. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we are hiring somebody, we look at who's coachable. You might have the best resume and the best education, but if you're not somebody that's coachable and willing to learn, then we're going to go with the person with the less desirable resume, but willing to want to learn. We have an entire department of training, leadership development. We are more willing to take somebody with no experience, but willing and wanting to learn, than somebody that thinks they know it all. And talking about the longevity, if you know, of course, that age-old question in interviews, what is your plans for the next 5 years? And if an applicant says, I want to open up my own business, we don't cut them off. We actually think, okay, well, how can we help you achieve that goal? Because we're going to invest in you, and that means that they're going to be invested in us. And so even if it's a short-term relationship or employment, we know that the time that we have with them they're going to give us complete engagement, complete loyalty, complete trust, because we're going to help them achieve their lifetime goal.
Wait, that was good. You guys, they're really good. Yes, now.
Well, to that comment that you just made was sort of on point with what I was bringing up, is when we have a situation where there literally aren't more people in the workforce to bring in at times, the company is faced with operating with a gap between what is needed to do and what the capabilities of the employees are that are sitting at their desk clicking the mouse who don't know how to click the mouse.
Yeah.
And so I guess what I would say is, how do you address that? Is there, I heard training, and is the training fast enough and good enough to meet that gap?
I think it depends on the organization. What capacity do you have? Not every organization has a training department, right? But maybe they can shadow someone.
Right.
They can be an apprentice. Remember that old word, apprentice? You know, that was the way everyone trained everyone in the old days, was an apprenticeship, you know? And you can do that. You can set that kind of program up. And a lot of times there's more talent in your organization than you realize. And if you actually surveyed your employees on a regular basis, because their needs and desires change, maybe this year they just want to have babies and take a little time off and not have stress, but next year they want to really go crazy on their career, right? So if you survey your employees, even if it's only 5 of them, ask them what their needs are and their desires are, and they say, I really want to learn how to do, you know, bus driving, or I really want to learn how to do sales, or I really want to learn how to do customer service or accounting, whatever. You know, it's amazing what kind of talent you may have right there. And then maybe they can shadow someone else, right? And you can reapportion their work to somebody else and give them that opportunity to grow. Because as a recruiter, I ask my clients all the time when they're having trouble filling a job, and we're having trouble helping them fill it. Do you know what talent and bench strength you have already in your organization that could be mentored right now? Or you could send them to a course, and they finish that course in 6 weeks, and you could be looking for someone else for over 6 weeks. So you might be able to help that talent grow right here in your own office. Or
I'm from Houston, where there is a huge gap because almost all the engineers that came together are now retiring together. And they've filled the jobs with all millennials, and what they're doing right now is exactly what she said. They're shadowing because they know that they're going to have a gap soon, and as soon as that baby boomer leaves, they're going to have that knowledge is gone, and so that's what they're doing. It's great. Oh, good. We've got lots. Hey, well, let's go over here, and then we'll go there. Yes.
What kind of training in soft skills and leadership do you provide, and do you feel it's enough, or are there other things you're looking for that you're not able to provide staff?
There's never enough training. You can always have more and more training. We let the employees drive it. They let us know what they want to learn, what they feel their skill sets need to be built off of. We have a curriculum that's already kind of built that they can pick and choose what they want. It's open, it's paid training, actually. It's, they can come and they get paid a training pay. And recommended from their managers as well. Sometimes you have an employee that doesn't see themselves as future potential management, but their manager does. So then there would be a referral, there would be a conversation, and then we would make a plan together. I don't know if that answers your question, but sort of.
I guess never enough.
Never enough.
Never enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you mentioned advertising, knowing how to advertise for positions, and I'm specifically interested in frontline positions, of how to grab that group's attention. Is we will advertise and get no applications, and we're a good organization, but something
Typical.
wrong. Help me.
Sometimes you actually need an advertising agency, and you might just ask them, I just want to pay you by the hour for 2 hours. Just give me a couple of ideas. Otherwise, you could spend a fortune, with an advertising agency. And they do fabulous work, but you may have a limited budget. So, and ask your employees, because it's amazing how many ideas they have. Say, what attracted you to this job? And it may not be what you think is the obvious thing, right? Good, stable company, financially strong, best places to work or whatever like that, but they may have been attracted to your company because my auntie works there or whatever, so you may use that in your advertising. And one thing I always tell employers is make sure you're posting your jobs and advertising your jobs, not just in what you might think of as the old term as the help wanted or the job board or the career builder, but post your job where you advertise your product or your service. Put it in the same ad you're running for transportation or your restaurants or whatever. Put it there. Put a little blurb, something very cute and eye-catching. And we're hiring drivers. And we're hiring restaurant workers. And we need software developers. So that same quarter-page ad you're running can advertise for your jobs as well.
Any others before I ask them a question? Okay, yes.
I often hear about the stagnation of middle-class salaries. And so I would think with the low unemployment rate that salaries would be the lure to attract employees. And I don't seem to find that being the case. So I'm just wondering why that seems to be a contradiction. Why aren't the salaries increasing nationwide?
I don't want to hog the mic, so I'm going to answer real quick and turn it over to one of these ladies. But as a recruiter, I have so many employers wanting to hire, and they won't raise their pay because they don't understand how bad the unemployment situation is, how bad the workforce talent availability is. And so it takes them a long time to realize it, then go to a budget and then try to get more money. And then they have to figure out all the pay equity across the board. So if you want to raise it to hire one driver because you're short and now they're asking for more money, you've got to look at the pay for all your drivers. So it's a hard thing to do, and that's what I've seen. It's just slow to react.
Yeah. I can speak to that, actually. So this year, I don't know if a lot of you read in the newspaper, there was a new bus company that came into the island. And then we actually lost our public school or Department of Education contract, so we no longer do school buses for the public school. However, when we lost the contract, the new company came in, and now we were faced with a bigger company here on the island. There were just 2 of us, now there's 3. And between the 2 companies that actually were awarded the contract, they were advertising, a $5 raise. We used to be regulated, prevailing wage, $19.47 for a school bus driver per hour, and they went up to $23 an hour immediately. And so we looked at that and we were like, well, we don't want to lose our drivers. We have great drivers. And so, we had a discussion, okay, how are we going to pull this off? But at the same time, for me, being a mother, working in the family business, I saw how hard I grew up working in the family business and how my parents work so hard. And I always said, when I have kids, I want to have more work-life balance. So my parents actually live on the property that we have the business. I don't. I live, 5 miles away. And it's important for me to have that work-life balance, attend all my kids' sporting events, do all their PTA thing. Not that my parents weren't involved or supportive, but my husband and I, do the coaching thing and all that. So in addition to raising their salaries, work-life balance, we created a program that employees can actually choose their availability. So they want to be available, 7 days a week, although we're required by DOT law to give them 1 day off. It's their choice. They're able to make that extra money. Other drivers say, nope, I only want to do school bus Monday through Friday. Don't call me on a Saturday or Sunday. We respect that. So beyond the raising their salary, we have created an in-house structure that they're able to say which category they want to be in, and it's also helped operationally, so we know who we have available to actually drive for us. So when we take additional runs, we're in the hospitality industry, so we provide transportation for conference services, incentives. We have late night runs, dinner runs, activity runs, tours. We know who we have available. And so besides the pay scale, I think it's super important, especially now with millennials, work-life balance.
Yeah, I think that's really important to think about. I know everyone wants the pay, but there's also other benefits that you are bringing into the organization, which I think is really great.
Yeah, our parents are workhorses.
I know.
I actually felt guilty not working 7 days a week, but I'm over it.
Yes, we are working. We have time for one more question, then we have to wrap it up. Were you yawning, or did you have a question? Oh, you were stretching. You were stretching?
I was not yawning. I have a question.
Okay.
Do you have any pointers on when you've kept a good staff for a long time, but you start to see some complacency or some within the culture, you see that there's some, oh, well, we're not really supposed to do it that way, but we know we can get under the radar doing it that way. And, like, do you see that when you have such a giant workforce as your company does?
I'm sure you do. With the word employee is one of the biggest things they want to talk about, right? How do you handle complacency? How do you keep them motivated?
You address it immediately, and you got to have managers that are keeping an eye out for that. That is one of your biggest killers in the workforce, in the workplace, is somebody that just is skating by, just not really caring, and it's contagious. It's like a virus. Other people will catch on to that. So the first one is nip it in the bud really, really quickly. And talk to the person as a whole person. Sometimes it has nothing to do with the workplace. Sometimes it's something that's going on personally. And we're not therapists, and we're not going to try and fix their lives, but we're going to have resources to give to them if that is maybe the case. Sometimes diagnosing a performance problem is probably really important. We spend a lot of money in the wrong ways to try and fix a problem that we diagnosed incorrectly. So having a real heart-to-heart conversation, and we call them stay conversations, right? You don't wait until the person's ready to quit. You start talking to them before that, and you say, hey, what makes you happy here? What would make you happier? And so I would say take a more proactive approach to that problem than a reactive.
In tandem with that, do you ever have a problem with such a large company that the people maybe at the
I think she's saying to kind of go to the boss.
Right.
Is that what you're saying? How do you get heard?
It happens on like the bottom of the totem pole, and that's not caught by middle management, and it has become a virus.
You have to change your manager.
Yeah.
Counsel your manager.
Yes, right. You have a management problem, right? Right. Well, we have to wrap it up. Our time is up. I'm so excited that you all have questions and are excited. So the day's going to go on, so keep that enthusiasm going. And thank you guys so much. This was great. Thank you for coming. So informative. Thank you.